The Constitution of India, Preamble. We, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic and to secure to all its citizens justice, social, economic and political, liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith and worship, equality of status and of opportunity, and to promote among them all fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and the unity and integrity of the nation. In our Constituent Assembly, this 26th day of November 1949, do hereby adopt, enact and give to ourselves this Constitution.
Hello guys, welcome back to this Disney channel, the learning platform where the students and teachers of Gurukulam feel so comfortable and cozy to meet, greet, learn, share the academic content. You all know not only the academic content we share with, it is all with music, arts, communication, physical training, counseling and even celebrations through online. Definitely children, this platform has turned to be a historical milestone in the history of Gurukulam during this Golden Jubilee celebration year. Children, make use of it to the maximum as you have to demand it from us. Children, keep yourself positive in attitude and say to negative. We always keep saying stay healthy, stay happy. And how can you stay healthy and positive or happy? It is only by having good, healthy food. Never skip your breakfast. Have healthy food. Say no to junk foods. Okay. So it is our responsibility. It is a responsibility of each and every one of us to protect the society by protecting us. Yes, because we have a big dream, a bag full of dreams we have to be achieved. We all have set a goal. So why should we stop in halfway? Isn't it? So keep yourself healthy and happy. And I would like to remind you that success is not final and failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. I would like to repeat it in every session of this first unit, Glimpses of Greatness, because it should be imprinted, it should be engraved in your minds. Success and failure, the two sides of the coin. Okay, so before moving on to the next lesson, I would like to connect it with the previous lesson, I Will Fly, a speech by Dr. APJ. Now a short video of APJ that would trigger us or even introspect us. Over to the video.
Always you ask, what is your passion? Passion. That passion should lead you what you want to specialize. I want the young people to understand how to manage the failure. Because any task you do, you have to come across problem. Problem should not become the captain of the individual or the project chief. And the project chief should become the captain of the problems and defeat the problem and succeed. But what is important, children dream what they want to be. We have to respect the children's dream, that is passion. Okay? Learning gives creativity. Creativity leads to thinking. Thinking provides knowledge. Knowledge makes you great. The chairman of the organization, the leader of the organization, taking the press conference, I was by his side. He said, we have failed. First time we tried to attempted, and this failure really makes us to believe we have to give more technological support my team, and they worked very hard. Definitely in a year they will succeed. So I was a mission director, I was a project director. I am responsible for the failure. And he took the responsibility of failure as a chairman of the organization, the leader of the organization. Next year, 1980, July, we succeeded. The whole nation was jubilant. There was a press conference. Brother Satish Dhawan told me, you go and take the press conference. Okay? The message is, when the failure occurred, the leader of the organization owned the failure. When the success came, he gave to his team.
But you say the title you like best is the title of teacher. Why is that?
You know, I had a teacher when I was a young boy, 10 years boy, wartime, the Second World War going on. At that time, I used to see in my class, 5th class teacher, he entered the classroom and we used to see the radiation of knowledge from him, When he enters the classroom, my teacher, I see a radiation of purity of life. And the way he taught, my dream got shaped. What should be my way of life? He is the person, the teacher gave me the vision of my life. Now a teacher has got a fantastic opportunity to grow minds, to enrich the minds, and give the dreams to the young people and nurture the dreams with them, and they will become a great human being. Sometime they will become better than you.
This video reminds me of Montaigne's quotings. The value of life lies not in the length of days, but in the use we make of them. Don't you agree with me? Agree with this quoting? Yes, sometimes there is a point in life where we are helpless in brooding about or worrying about the problems that we cannot change. Again a video, watch it and please find out, or please think about yourself. Are we not blessed when compared to these people? Do we make use of our potential to the maximum as these people have struggled to come out? We will not know the value of eyes when you possess it. The value of shade will be understood only when you are suffering the pain of scorching sun. Plenty of examples can be listed out if asked for. People who have overcome the struggle, the pain, their limitations to positives. You can list out so many people. Maybe the first one in your list is going to be Helen Keller. And why not you? When those people can do, why not you? Who is gifted with everything, showered by everything. On the screen to the video, the inspiring video.
At age 8, I thought that I should commit suicide. Why? Because I didn't have hope. So I tried to give up. At age 10, tried to drown myself in 6 inches or 15 centimeters of water in my home. I told my dad I just wanted to relax. But really, I wanted to end my life. I had enough.
But it was so hard because people put me down. And I started believing that I was not good enough. I started believing that I was a failure. That I'd never ever be somebody who people would like or people would accept. I couldn't change my circumstance. I couldn't just one day wake up and say, hey, give me arms and legs, I need arms and legs. And I had questions and no answers, and I asked my mum and dad, why did this happen? I asked doctors, why did this happen? They don't know. There are some things in life that are out of your control that you can't change and you got to live with. The choice that we have though is either to give up or keep on going. So what do you do when you fall down? get back up. Everybody knows to get back up, because if I start walking, I'm not going to get anywhere. But I tell you, there are some times in life where you fall down. You feel like you don't have the strength to get back up. I'm down here, face down, and I have no arms, no legs. It should be impossible for me to get back up, but it's not. You see, I will try 100 times to get up, and if I fail 100 times, if I fail and I give up, do you think that I'm ever going to get up? No. But if I fail, I try again and again and again. For as long as I try, there's always that chance of getting up. Does that make sense? And it's not the end until you've given up. There's still hope. I'm not here today to tell you that I understand your pain. I don't know how it feels to be abused. I don't know how it feels to feel, quote, fat and you've got an eating disorder. I don't know how it feels to have a broken home. I don't know how it feels. But I know how it feels to have a broken heart. And I know how it feels to be alone. But I just want you to know that it's not the end. It matters how you're going to finish. Are you going to finish strong? You will find that strength to get back up like this.
Wasn't it inspiring? It has a relevance to the lesson what we are going to read today. There are many people in the world who have brought out their uniqueness by overcoming their challenges, limitations. It was really, or it will be really, a hardship, a turbulent period they would have crossed with. Yes. To learn about such people, to know about such people, we will have to highly depend upon the profiles or biographies or autobiographies about them. So let us see what all these three things are, how it is differentiated from each other. You all know autobiography. Autobiography is the life history written by the person himself. Biography, it all includes the details from life to death. The history, the life history written by somebody else. And what is profile? Profile is a highlight of a specific time period or even the collection of events in a person's life. Certain periods, certain events can be included that has brought a turning point in their life. So here we are going to read a profile, the great supernova of physics. You all know about him. We should be happy and proud that we lived during his period and era. It is Stephen Hawking. Let me begin this lesson by telling intelligence is the ability to adapt to the change. That is the intelligence. That's what he said in the previous, from the very first. You cannot stop the waves, but you can learn to surf the waves. That is life. Without falling, you can never walk. But how far you get back, it is what the courage we need to withstand all these difficult times. Definitely it needs courage. So here it's a profile of Stephen Hawking written by Kitty Gale Ferguson. Shall we begin the lesson? Are you ready? Yes. As usual, let me tell you, if you don't have your textbook, please have a split screen of PDF in your mobile or your lap. Okay? Yes, it is going to be the third lesson in Unit 1. Unit 1 is Glimpses of Greatness. The first lesson, like introduction, we have seen to Abe's first speech, then his first flight, and then I will fly, isn't it? And now comes the third lesson, the quest for a theory of everything. Okay, shall we begin with the lesson? Page number 18. Dr. Kalam exhorts everybody to be unique in his or her own way. There are many people who have proved their uniqueness even while fighting adversities and limitations. Stephen Hawking's profile reveals how he has overcome his disabilities to become the supernova of physics. Supernova is an exploding star. Supernova of physics. Exhorts, it is like counseling, advising. Dr. Abdul Kalam has counseled or advised people on how important their uniqueness is. It is not necessary that you have to be like others. Don't worry about your failures. You have wings, so you will have to fly. You may excel in arts or science or any other field that you are interested. Courageously take up and move forward. Be unique. And now a similar lesson that gives you on how to convert your limitations to strengthen up your value of life. What have you contributed with all the blessings to this community or to this society or even at least your family? But there are people who struggle up themselves to do something for the world. Shall we begin? This is going to be an inspiring profile for you. It is not going to be so monotonous or so dry, but you can enjoy this profile with the visual picture of how it is drafted. Okay, see, it is about Stephen Hawking, I said. See, in spite of his disabilities, his adversities, Stephen Hawking has proved that anybody can become successful and unique by overcoming their limitations. He speaks about the courage and humor that he had towards life. Our life is only once in this earth. Do it and die. Okay. The lesson begins with, in the Cockcroft lecture room on April 29, 1980, scientists and university dignitaries gathered in the steep tiers of seats facing a two-story wall of chalkboard and slide screen. So it begins with an occasion. It is at Cockcroft lecture room. Where is this? It is at the University of Cambridge, that is located at Pembroke. So, it is a lecture room and people all have got seated in tiers in layers like in the stadium. Okay, so what is that? Facing two-story wall of chalkboard and slide screen too. The occasion was the inaugural lecture by a new Lucasian professor of mathematics, the 38-year-old mathematician and physicist Stephen Hawking. The title of the lecture was a question: is the end in sight for theoretical physics? Hawking startled his listeners by announcing that he thought it was. He invited them to join him in a sensational escape through time and space to find the Holy Grail of science. Holy Grail of science is a theory that explains the universe and everything that happens in it. So he was ready to prove and show them what universe is and then what do we get from the universe. Stephen Hawking sat silently in a wheelchair while one of his students read his lecture to the assembled company. Judged by appearance alone, Hawking didn't seem a promising choice to lead any adventure. Now you get the picture of the person who is ready to give a lecture in front of the scientist. Normally we have a misconception. We easily go for judging people by their attire or their look or their way of presentation. There are many people like sugar-coated pills in the society. Here, even people who were waiting to listen to his lecture were not ready to accept his call for moving on for an adventure because he did not meet their needs. Normally, if any person is willing to take us for a trekking or adventurous trip, we will see whether the person will judge the person. Is he courageous enough to take me up for an adventurous trip? Can I rely on this person? Is it possible for me to hold his hands when there comes a need? Is he strong enough to support me and protect me? Normally, for every human being, we will have a confusion or we will have a thought process in our mind. Even the people who were gathered in that gallery or in that lecture room also thought that, is he the person with whom we are going to have an adventurous thought process? And he has come in front of us in a wheelchair. So, physically challenged. Stephen William Hawking was born on 8th January 1942 in Oxford, England. It was exactly 300 years after the death of Galileo, the father of modern science. Frank and Isabel Hawking, Stephen's parents, were not wealthy, but they believed in the value of education. Do you believe in the value of education? Or the education should be like what was said in the previous lesson. The child worries about not having a courage to ask even a single question. Should it be like that? Or it should give a child its life skills to meet the challenges of its harsh real life. And also to the previous paragraph I would like to ask, you might have heard a proverb, don't judge a book by its cover. And by the end of this class you will have to tell me whether this proverb suits this personality Stephen Hawking. Okay, this goes to be or this turns to be your assignment today. Okay, so don't judge a book by its cover, and now it comes to the value of education. Parents were not wealthy, and each and every parent in our society also thinks that what the best thing that they could give for their children is good education. So they planned for Stephen to go to Westminster, a famous public school in the heart of London. Why education should be so good? Because it is a treasure. Wealth can be destroyed or can be looted up by any people, but this education, this intellect or this wisdom cannot be robbed from you. Wherever you go, you will gain a respect because of this education, not by wealth but by education. So children, keep in mind that you get good education in your life. Make up your mind to get good education rather than to earn a quick buck of money in your life. Okay, yes, so they planned for Stephen to go to Westminster, a famous public school in the heart of London. Unfortunately, Stephen was ill at the time of scholarship examination for Westminster. So everywhere we have entrance exams, isn't it? So in the same way, at that time, he fell ill. Normally we blame our bad luck, isn't it? In the same way, it is said, unfortunately, he was sick at the time of writing the examination. Therefore, he attended the local St. Albans school. By the time he was 8, so it is from birth, the profile is developed from one stage to the other. Gradual development. Now it is at age 8. He was thinking seriously about becoming a scientist. Frank Hawking encouraged his son to follow him into medicine, but Stephen found biology too imprecise. He wanted a subject in which he could look for exact answers and get to the root of things. Normally, this conflict happens at every home. Children dream one thing and the parents will compel them to do something else that they dreamt in their life to satisfy their need, to satisfy their dream. Because they want their children to be safe and secure. So here, his taste or interest was to become scientist, and Frank Hawking, his father, insisted him to do medicine. And he contradicts with the idea with his father, telling that biology is imprecise. It is not exact. The results that we find out is not going to be exact. It may have a variation or change, isn't it? So, he wanted a subject in which he could look for exact answers. He was a person, he wanted the right answers. He cannot doubt it or guess or assume for it. He needs a rigid answer. Yes or no. Even from childhood, he was a person who insisted in something else different. He didn't stand for any compromise. Young Stephen was not prodigy, it's genius. He was not a genius person, he was just an average. He was just an ordinary English schoolboy, slow in learning to read. His handwriting, the despair of the teachers. Doesn't it sound very similar to our actions at class? Very slow in learning. Normally when you take your notebook, teachers say, what a handwriting, man. It's worse than my fate. Sometimes seeing your handwriting which is not legible, or might be you have scribbled. Teachers, when they have to go for reading so many papers, it is our responsibility to present it neat. So sometimes you may also, or we may have also got scoldings or criticisms from teachers. his handwriting, the despair of his teachers. He was ranked no more than halfway up in his class. Though he now says in his own defense, it was a very bright class. Just for fun, I would like to include some personal things in my what I have experienced. Might be when papers are distributed, no, you might have got low marks, and when parents asked you the reason for getting low marks, immediately you will tell everybody has got the same mark. Mine is the top mark. See, you know, out of 55, I have ranked 5th or 1st with this least mark. So, see to the condition of others. So, Stephen was also not a different man. He was ranked no more than halfway up in his class, and later he used to tell it was a very bright class, you know. So, even I am bright in my class, I have at least crossed the halfway. At 14, Stephen knew that he could pursue mathematics and physics. So, mathematics and physics, there is an answer. No confusions. You have a rigid, ultimate, solid answers in physics and mathematics. So, based on his interest, he found mathematics and physics is too interesting, and his father called this impractical, for there were no jobs in mathematics except teaching. If you do medicine, you can practice it and you can have a good earning. But for mathematics, you can opt only teaching profession. Moreover, he wanted his son to attend his own college, and Oxford offered no mathematics. He followed his father's advice and studied chemistry, physics and only a little mathematics in preparation for the entrance into Oxford. So, preparation for the entrance in Oxford. He did well in physics and the interview was brilliantly accepted, because if we leave children according to their taste and interest, definitely it turns to be their need. So, they will definitely do. I personally believe in that. Provided they should give us a reason for why they have chosen that. And they will have to give an assurance on excelling in that area. In 1959, the age of 17, Hawking went to Oxford to study natural science and to specialize in physics. He joined University College, his father's college, and the oldest at Oxford, founded in 1249 AD. Nevertheless, for about a year and a half, Hawking was lonely and bored, because when you go to a new school, new atmosphere, it is very difficult to get adapted with the new situations, whatever the thing might be language or your surrounding, your friends, your subjects, your environment. It is not that easy to get adapted with. So, first year was really boring for him. He was not inspired to relieve his boredom by exerting himself academically. But halfway through his second year, he began enjoying Oxford. So, first year, he was focused only with academics, because no other go, he was getting bored, so focused with studies. And second year, he didn't want to give up his college life, his enjoyment. Second year, he got adjusted with the friends and situations all around, and he started enjoying his life. He became popular and well accepted among his peers. They remember him as lively, buoyant and adaptable. He was so cheerful. There are some children or some people they always keep long face, worried face. It is like the ship has sunk. So people will not accept the company of such children or such people. If you keep smiling and cheerful always, wherever you go, you spread happiness and positivity, people will like to have your company always. And he was such a person who had a vibe of spreading positivity, cheerfulness, happiness, smile all over. And adaptable too. He wore his hair long, was famous for his wit. His behavior, his attire, his way of talk, his wisdom was noted by his friends, and he was noted for that specially. Liked classical music and science fiction and took part in sports. He was like an all-rounder. We'll see what happened in his life. However, at the end of the third year, Hawking almost floundered, struggled. He selected theoretical physics as his specialty. He had then applied to do a PhD at Cambridge and was accepted on condition that he got a first from Oxford. It was an assurance given to him that if he gained first in Oxford, definitely he will be provided a seat for doing his PhD at Cambridge. Hawking was noted for his confidence, determination from his childhood onwards, and even here he did not fail to show that. Hawking was confident that he could get through successfully. But as the examination day approached, his confidence failed. Hawking ended up disastrously on the borderline between a first and second. Disastrously, very dangerous, at the brim, safe landing, not to the other side or to this side. Even a slip will be dangerous. Hawking ended up disastrously on the borderline between a first and a second. Faced with the borderline result, the examiners summoned Hawking for an interview and questioned him about his plans. Summoned him, called him personally to know about his further plans. In spite of the tenseness of the situation, put ourselves in that situation if we are called for. We'll be so tensed, worried, sweated, and a lot of preparation to how to convince them. But here he was too cool. Hawking managed to come up with a kind of remark for which he was famous among his friends. He was such an open-minded person. What he felt, he spoke. The reply what he gave was, if I get a first, I shall go to Cambridge. If I receive a second, I will remain at Oxford. What to do? Life should move on. If I get first, I will go to Cambridge. If I get a second, I will have to stay back at Oxford and continue my studies. So I expect that you will give me first. So he has influenced the people with his wise answering. He has informed them that he needs the first position, that he was very passionate to do PhD at Cambridge. He got his first and he went to Cambridge. His first year at Cambridge was worse than that of Oxford. Wherever you go, the first time, your first experience will be difficult. But we should never give up with that first bitter experience. Stay there, understand, and then move on to the next step. His slipshod mathematical background caught up with him, and he found general relativity extremely tough. Another far more disastrous problem arose then. his new place, even mathematics did not support him, and the third issue that he was facing was something he did not expect in his life. During his third year at Oxford, Hawking started getting clumsy. He had fallen once or twice for no apparent reason. The following autumn at Cambridge, he had trouble tying his shoes, and sometimes he had difficulty talking. So, little by little, his body was showing a disturbance that he could not control his limbs. Shortly after his 21st birthday in 1960, normally we say 21st birthday turns to be a turning point in everybody's life, and here in his life it turned to be a tragedy. Hawking contracted a rare disease, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, for which there was no known cure. There are certain diseases for which even now we have found no cure. One such is what we are facing right now, the pandemic situation, COVID pandemic situation. It is the process of finding out the vaccine is moving on very studiously in all the countries. Let us see who comes with the best result that supports the humanity. Okay, so here he was affected with amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, for which there was no medicine to cure. It caused a gradual disintegration of the nerve cells in the spinal cord and the brain. You know the vital role of the place where the spinal cord and the brain connects. The neurons and nerves, it carries impulses to brain, isn't it? So, there was a disintegration of nerve cells. At first, he went into a deep depression. So, normally when we understand that we are affected with some illness or some worries, we will get depressed. Depressed, we will have no interest in life, we will have no interest in talking to others. Might be we are affected with insomnia, or we have no appetite. We will keep ourselves aloof. We will trust no people. Okay, so symptoms of depression is like that. So he was depressed. What am I to do now? I could understand that something goes wrong in my body. He did not know what he ought to do or what his future would be like. Was totally in a panic situation. When unexpected things happen, we will have to stay strong. Very easy to say, but very difficult to practice. But we should, because we will have to achieve a big dream and goal that we have already set for our life. So he did not know what he ought to do, what he had to do, or what his future would be like. He had a big dream of becoming a scientist. So now at very young age of 21, he is affected with disintegration of nerves. He says, my dreams at that time were rather confused. I have big dreams and how to move towards the dreams. He admitted, before my condition was diagnosed, I had been very bored with life. Until I have been diagnosed with this disease, my life was boring. He says, think. There did not seem to be anything worth doing until I was diagnosed. I didn't feel any importance of my life in this world. What to do? But shortly after I came out of the hospital, I dreamt that I was going to be executed, killed. At any moment it may happen. I suddenly realized that there were a lot of worthwhile things to do if I were deprived. I am sure about my end, or I am sure about my death. But before that, I understood or realized that there are many things to be done. Until I was diagnosed with this disease, I had no interest on my life. I felt bored. But now, after doctors have given me a chance for 2 more years to live, I got the spirit to live. Another recurring dream was the idea of sacrificing my life to save others. Anyhow, I am going to die. But before my death, I will have to do something for the sake of this humanity. After all, if I were going to die, I might as well do something good. The character of Hawking is revealed through these lines. If it is we people, put yourself in that place. And what you might think if doctor has diagnosed with some rare disease for which no medicine is found, and there is a deadline to you that 1 or 2 or 3 years to live. Lamenting about this, we may invite death so soon than the time fixed. So, now he says, when my destiny was fixed, my fate was fixed, I had a willpower to do something for the good of this community. Hawking's doctors hoped that his condition would stabilize, but the disease aggravated rapidly. With much speed, it spread. They soon informed him that he had only about 2 more years to live. Bad luck. What to say? Isn't it? But here, when doctors gave him a life expectancy of 2 years to live, his life is considered to be a medical marvel where he crossed even half a century of his life carrying his disease along with him. Really, it was a medical marvel. People could not understand how it happened. And we believe it is only because of his positivity, his courage, his determination, and even the love to live to do something for others. Yes. Shall we stop here and move on with this lesson in the next week? Until then, a bye from me, and I have already given you an assignment to be done. Okay? Hope you will read the lesson, find the meanings and mark it in your textbook. Never ignore or neglect reading your textbook, thinking that no questions from textbook come for exam. It is not like that at all. Only with the content of your textbook, questions are asked connecting with the contemporary life. So, you cannot write completely general answers or completely textual content. You will have to connect both. So, very badly you will have to go for reading your textbook. Utilize your time properly and be happy, be healthy and stay fit. Boost up your immunity and keep smiling always, spreading positivity and radiance everywhere. Bye.